Right, okay, so let's jump into it. So I think we'll start with a bit of a recap of last time. So we'll just go around. What does everybody remember? What are the main points? So who are you guys? What are you doing?
So we sacrificed 2 people.
So, yeah.
Sacrifice!
You were previously a group of 2 more than you are now.
They took 2 for the team.
So Butu, the chief's son, and his lackey Set Rote, have unfortunately passed.
We also lost that mysterious guy who lit the fire. I presume he's...
Oh yes.
That's right. What dastardly, intelligent, beautiful person could have lit that fire? We'll never know.
So yeah, so you guys are out on your trial, looking to hunt something which will prove yourselves adult men, and enter you into the tribe true and adult women.
And child
Thank you. I'll kill you.
Well, they're the sort of gritted barbarians who probably would, even if you are a little girl, come in like, you're a man.
Well, I'm like, you're a man.
Take your pick of the women.
So yeah, you guys are out looking for something to have which will prove yourselves worthy of entering the rest of the tribe. You set out with the chief's son and one other orc who were both now passed in a giant hyena attack.
Sorry.
After that, if I remember correctly, you guys went off into the Nilnwood, so I'll bring the map up. So you guys...
We were hunting for crocodiles.
So you guys are over here at the moment in the eastern edge of the Nilnwood.
Don't forget that sweet trap we set and killed that vulture.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is true.
Fucking nuked him.
So on the way to the Nilnwood...
Thanks to my genius.
Excuse me. Excellent dead bodies over here.
That was the most important part of the whole thing.
Not just there like, I'm getting ready to hit it. Oh, no need.
Instantly
Scrappy
forged it.
dude, let me at him.
So yeah, you guys travelled into Nilnwoods where you met some cultists who...
We sure did.
You traded provisions with them, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we gave them what was left of the carcass, and we got a sword and also some booze, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Yep.
You often do seem to get paid in booze. That's very much the way of your tribe. So yeah, and I think after that you guys were heading south through the forest. You set up camp for the night, and that's when Tiger Guy appeared. He did his best to attempt to escape a mauling from a tiger, but unfortunately didn't do so. Tiger got away. I think we closed the episode. Was it Nuck? Were you the one who ran up to the...
Oh yeah, I went and looted the body, didn't
That's it.
I stoved his face in.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's where we'll pick up. But what I'll do, I think before that, I'm quickly gonna
It was in his honor.
run the credits.
It's for his for the best.
What was that?
My first
Steve's
time
name over the dead body.
That was Amy's character cradling his corpse.
Hey guys, it's Dave. Look, he's a dead pig body. Hey, he does so good in D&D.
Dave used rigor mortis.
I feel like you're the only person to lose a character so far.
No, I lost Pluto.
Yeah,
that was a
It was in a
Oh,
separate
yeah,
game,
yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone but me died in the prequel to this.
Yes, yeah.
But so, in fact, I'm the only one to not lose a character. You're all shit.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it didn't still
You've only got one. That doesn't really count.
That can.
I started naked, to be fair.
I think, unless has anybody got any particular they want to throw in as an inspiration scene as the credits fade and we come up into it? If so, if not, I've got one that I would like to volunteer for the 2 dragons for an extra inspiration point because it's important plot things that I need to somehow crowbar into the game.
Well then, let's have it.
So I think what we see, as these credits fade away and we fade through black and back up into the scene, the scene comes up and we're in sort of like a dimly lit, it would be one of the tents or one of the structures within Tai Cheng, some sort inside the husk of some giant creature. And as we pan down we would see the 2 dragons sort of sat on the floor on individual rugs, cross-legged, across from their father, Charlie, 5th man. Dragonborn like yourselves, but an much older dragon than the two of you. You can still tell that he was made of the same frame. He's got the same enormous skeleton, but his skin and his scales just seem to hang a little bit more loosely off them than they do on you. His head hangs a little bit lower, and he seems a little bit emaciated. He's a very old dragon, probably approaching his 100 so far as he's told you, and he's discussing the trial with you. Like the text appears at the bottom of the screen that says like 3 days earlier. And I won't sort of like go into individual conversation, but he's essentially discussing with you what your plans are for disguising yourself whilst you're out in the world. Up until this point, Charlie's taken great effort to keep you guys sheltered from the remainder of the world. You don't want anything to do with the golden dragons. If you remember, a long time ago, or I say a long time ago, the world that we're playing in is relatively young. And that's mostly on account of the war with the golden dragons that happened a long time ago. The earth was very much scorched bare, and then the survivors and their children, and you are the ancestors of the survivors of the Great Dragon War. So your father Jai would have spent a lot of time keeping you guys out of the sight of people who may discover you, or certainly anybody who would go on and tell anybody else that you're about. You guys are quite fortunate in the first episode that we really encountered crazy people, and people would probably be quite happy that Apocalypse, Omen, dragons are wandering around the place. But what would your plans? What would he have done previously to keep you guys safe? How protective would Jolly have been to you two?
We probably wouldn't know. I don't think we would
Yeah.
take kindly to being protected.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I think he would do it subtly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So just sort of like diverting out, like you probably think the world's a lot more barren there actually, as you've been wandering around gravel because like this place is pretty empty.
Yeah.
And like maybe there's certain occasions where your father's like scouted ahead, and you'll walk around a bend in the road, and there's just a corpse on the side of the road.
Yeah.
It's like he was already there.
I think that would be very much like it, yeah.
Okay.
That's life to us. There's
Holding a
corpses.
sheet up in front of you, like,
Yeah.
no?
So what I'm interested to know is what both of your two reactions are to this situation. Like, you're being sent out into the world now. Your father's very much of the opinion that you're going to be adults after this is done, and you don't really need his protection anymore. But maybe if you were ignorant to it, maybe he is explaining to you all of this, that the outside world isn't going to be friendly to you.
I feel that if, for instance, he's already subtly protected us, we would be well aware that the world's not very friendly.
Uh-huh.
Like we'd be very much like, oh, it's a dangerous place out there. But thankfully, we are big and we are strong, so we will protect ourselves and act like like Dad did.
We're tougher than anything out there, we think.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not going to take any. You're implying you're not going to be taking any efforts to like disguise your heritage. You're proud golden dragons.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think so. Yeah. It's going to cause some.
We would
trouble.
advertise it, wouldn't we?
We
We would use it. Right,
some golden dragons, boys. What are you going to do?
Okay, so as per normal with these scenes, so the people who aren't in the inspiration scenes, so Dave, Matt, if you've got any questions or anything you would want to know about their characters in this context.
Hmm.
First interview.
Yeah, so what color dragons are you?
They're
This
all
isn't
gold.
actually... They are gold.
They're all gold, yeah.
We're
So
the
there's
bad guys.
there's only two types of two colours of dragon and two colours of dragonborn in this world, and they're silver and gold respectively. The gold ones are the nasty or earth scorching ones, and the silvers are the reluctant saviours of the.
I've got a friend you should meet. She'll kill you.
We'll kill her.
So, I guess then, have you guys never left the gravel fields at all?
I imagine as far as we would have gone would be into the Nilns Wood and then be scouted back.
Okay. So kind of, you've got like an idea of like the gravel fields and then the woods, and then anything past that you just imagine is woodland.
Yeah, and we're not hugely imaginative. We probably haven't really thought that there's anything else out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you noticed the fact that other people in the village maybe give you those looks that are like, oh, there go world killers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tai Cheng's probably one of the only places where you'd almost expect them to be there. You'd walk through the door and you'd be like, oh look, there's the heralds of the apocalypse. Along with all the other reprobates. But yeah, it's probably a few notches above what they're expecting. But not entirely surprised. So you would have been getting, you certainly would have got looks, but they would be used to Charlie, who he's raised his family here. Like, you two would have both been born in the tribe. So they are used to you, but those looks would still be present. People would treat you with a certain reverence.
We would take that as a badge of honour, I think.
Yeah.
People being afraid of us.
Especially as we are part of like our father is part of the part of nobility basically. We will just take it as honour.
Okay, sweet.
But for a DM question, in this setting, would Dragonborns be treated worse than, for instance, like tieflings and?
They are the tieflings. Tieflings aren't in this one, other than the cat tieflings that we shoved in the mountains. In effect, they take over that. They take over the tieflings' mantle of the. Everybody hates them, but it's more so with the golden dragonborns. Everybody thinks they're dead.
Right.
Like, everybody thinks that war's over. The silver dragons won. Humanity was not scorched.
Yeah.
Them being back could herald very bad things for the rest of the world.
So now I need to hate you guys slightly.
Okay, cool. So I think we get little flashes of all of these things while you're speaking to Charlie. We bump forwards and backwards in time to see him protecting you. I think we close it out with him accepting your decision to go out as proud dragonborns, but he does have one condition for you, and that's not to go near the mountain. Niln's Rise.
You mean that mountain we're heading right to?
I like mountains.
Because Niln's Rise is the mountain, obviously, that's in the centre of the Niln's Wood and connected to the Gravel's Field, and it looms over the entirety of Last Haven, which is the island that you guys are on. But it is believed, although nobody knows where he is, it is believed that that's where Charlie died. Charlie would have spoken a lot when he was younger and in the tribe, and what you remember of him, of a creature named Owls, who lives in the mountains. A giant spider, and the main reason that nobody in the tribe goes anywhere near the mountain. He often spoke of how he was going to be the one to kill owls and come back and rule the tribe, but obviously never came back.
We now have a destiny.
What are giant spiders on the list?
Owls isn't on the list. Owls is.
So if we killed him and came back, we'd literally rule the tribe.
You would, yeah. If you dragged owls back, but there's even the chiefs of the tribe are afraid of owls. Owls is not to be messed with, and he's not just a giant spider. He's something else. He probably lives almost entirely in like hearsay. Like probably one person tribe may have reported to have seen him, but he hunts the mountain. He's a giant spider. Some people describe him as a giant spider. Some will call him a giant scorpion. But people just describe how he moves silently through the night. You don't want to be near the mountain at night time.
Okay.
He's like Spider Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, giant spider Bigfoot. Apparently he comes silently and leaves just as silently, but with nobody left.
Anyone for a level 1 to 10 training montage? Get some hardcore music going. And get
to win!
I was going to say, can I use lay on hands on him?
I think that only recovers, like, it injures wounds. I don't think it does.
Well, no, it does.
No, it does.
We were just talking about removes condition, doesn't it?
Removes condition.
You can use it to remove a condition.
That's what we were
like
just talking
poison.
about, wasn't it?
Nice, so yeah, 100%, yeah, you can lay on hands him.
Do that.
So nice, yeah, you use your divine paladinic pick.
Honestly,
Cure diarrhea.
pussy, as I do it.
Yeah, to kill Squishy. Yeah, you place your hand on his lower stomach, and then there's one loud grumble that sort of vibrates the entirety of the front of his torso, and then he's still. And your eyes roll back in your head as with previously. Like a cold, it's like a gentle cold covers the area, and so anybody who stood vaguely near while you're doing it feels a bit of a chill. But then, yeah, the grumbling stops.
Read that paragraph there. Yeah, so it's just.
At this point, I would just start laughing.
5 hit points worth. You can use
Oh
that
shit!
instead.
Right, okay.
So it's fury for poison or disease.
Goat shit doesn't do anything. It's just goat shit. Why would you eat it?
Do I get more than 5 hit points if I like level up? Does it?
Yeah,
Does
so
it pool of hit
it
points?
goes up by 5 each level.
Okay.
So you basically have 5 points times your level.
Cool.
So next level you'll get 10 points.
You better run, little child. And also,
Well, you know, that's,
He
that,
knew!
No, that,
I said
no,
He doesn't know that I knew.
I
No, I just said you.
Yeah.
You little shit.
I say thank you then, and fuck you.
The other thing that is worth pointing out, because he cured poison using his lay on his hand, like the second you lay your hands on Run and cure him, you're instantly sober, like 100%. Like you're awake. You're alert.
And I'm not. I'm
Oh, I'm pissed.
So Nuck would like to have a very quick character scene, just sort of like take dinner like aside from everybody.
Yeah, you can 100% do that. Yeah, do it.
okay.
Like I just wanted to say I'm sorry that I screamed at you. You look a little bit scary, and I appreciate that you saved me back there. So I made this for you, and I take out the horn that I've like carved, and I filled it up with like another thing of alcohol, and I just hand that over to you.
Nice.
Din's very touched by this, but doesn't really know how to express it.
while he's very drunk.
Yeah. Thank you. Don't mention it.
It's okay.
Nice. So yeah, I'll just say inspiration for the two people in the scene then. Yeah, whack them on. Nice, like it.
So pissed!
We're all getting along lovely. Give each other gifts.
Well, you gave me a gift, alright?
Is there anything particular, one question I would like to have, is there anything particular carved into the engraving that you put on?
I think it's probably not great. It's like equivalent of like sailors carving up pieces of like driftwood.
Right, so you've like
stuff
spiralized it or something like that.
Yeah, and there's probably like almost like a stick figure equivalent of a dragonborn stood there like that.
Hero pose.
Is it meant to look like me?
Yeah.
Good likeness.
And then at your feet
Like a
there's like a
mirror.
dwarf let down. And then like rays coming off of it.
Nice, cool. Yeah, so yeah, add your hero's drinking horn into your
Where would that go?
Very
Just
intense.
in your items.
items, yeah.
Alright, so let's do some watches, guys.
Yeah, so yeah, nice. So that you
I'm watching you.
So you guys head around to the west. So you make through most of the day fairly unimpeded. Can somebody roll d20 from this? See what the weather's like today.
17.
17. So yeah, same conditions as before. So fairly good conditions. It's a clear day. Very clear, actually. I'd say. Like as you guys are heading up the Nil's Rise, like a fairly spectacular view begins to open up behind you and to the north. Like you can see over the Nil Wood. So the tips of the pine trees that sit as like a grass skirt around the mountain. You can look back towards the gravel fields, and you can probably even see like the northern city of Southfell from here over the top of the mountains poking up. And can I get perception checks from
I
everybody?
can't see Appa, can I?
I would say you would probably, from here you could see where Appa is. Appa's nestled in against the side of the woods. but
So
you-
I'd be well aware that I'm looking towards Appa.
Yeah, you would know 100% like Appa's there. Like you can see where the wood curves back in, and there's some, you can probably even make out the road that leads to Appa from where you are.
Okay.
So perception checks from really, what do we get?
Crit.
Crit.
8.
6.
Oh, sorry. 11.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, as you guys are heading around the mountain, I think you guys stop for a short while to take in this view as you sort of crest around the corner. You sort of reach like a flat plateau that stretches off towards the west, almost like a path that begins to wind round the mountain. You stop to survey the area, and Din, as you look round, you're sort of sweeping across the view from right to left. As you reach the westernmost point, you can sort of see the side of the mountain there. You notice it only briefly for a second, but you see two figures stood a ways away, and both shrouded in black cloaks. But you can see that they're quite definitely staring in your direction. With a 20, you can probably see one of their mouths hanging open, and then they dart around the corner away from where you were.
So, were they human?
They were both human,
Okay.
yeah. But they were very pointedly staring at the two dragons. They took a long second to gulp, and then they were gone.
Alright. Okay.
Hunting time!
What did you tell us?
Yeah, I'll tell them what I saw. Two figures. Checking us out.
You've got good taste. Masks by.
You say black cloak?
Yes, they're shrouded in black cloaks. It's worth noting they didn't look like the cultists you saw before. Like
Yeah, okay.
they look. These guys look different.
What are they thinking in this weather? It's boiling.
They must be so sweaty.
They saw the dragons and then immediately ran. Okay, sweet. So you gonna like give chase after them, or are you just gonna head over in that direction?
Head over, try and look non-threatening.
Okay. 'Cause yeah,
So there's two
they
golden
bolted, so
dragons.
they've disappeared around the corner. So they bolted it, but yeah, you can head over that way.
Maybe send these two ahead first. Not like way ahead, but lead the way.
Okay. So yeah, you get over to where they were stood, and can I get like there? You can't see them anywhere. Like they've run away from where they were then. Does anyone want to make a perception or survival check? If everybody rolls perception or survival, whichever's better for you.
I think perception is actually better for me.
13.
I'll fail mine because I'm not paying attention. I'm looking towards Alpha.
Well,
Yeah, that's fine.
I got like
Also-
6.
Can I? When we were back at the view, did we see Tai Cheng?
It was round the corner, so probably not. Or you could probably see. You could probably actually see Chief Opal's. Probably is the only structure you could see, because hers is made out of like a wyvern cupping its wings round. So you could probably see the head of the wyvern poking over the top. It's at the highest point in the camp, as well as being the tallest building. So you could probably just about make an Outlaws tent from there. So
Yeah,
what were the checks for everybody? First survival or perception,
13.
17.
and then 6.
I'm being unusually perceptive today.
Okay. So 17. Yeah, I'd say when you find it's not enough to sort of. Were we rolling survival or perception?
They're the same, so perception.
Perception. Okay. Cool. You make your way over there. You can't see any evidence of the two cloaked figures, but you do find a scrap of fabric which has been torn off on a rock, which looks like it wears where they're standing. It seems like when one of them's turned around and bolted away, he's got his cloak caught and a section of it's ripped away. You pick it up in your hand and it's incredibly soft silk.
Right.
And there's some gentle golden coloured embroidery in it.
Okay.
The tag that says please return to.
Yeah.
Would that?
Show it to these guys, see if they recognise it.
I'm trying to remember what
Can I see if I recognise it?
the monks.
Yeah,
were like.
you guys can roll checks, whatever
I
you
don't think they were like that. What are the monks'
No.
robes like?
green.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's a no. That's a 7.
Yeah, I rolled a 3 out of like.
Should I bother rolling too?
You can do, yeah, if you want to see if you recognise it.
Dragon cult.
4. I do not.
Sweet. No, so yeah, it's nothing that any of you guys recognise. Like, you haven't got a big enough section to make out what the embroidery is of. There's just like some spiky golden embroidery of some sort of description. I think that's probably where we wrap it up. I think you guys all stand around looking at this piece of fabric, and the camera begins to pull out and pull away. The camera sort of pans. We get like a helicopter shot as it rotates around the edge of the mountain. It pulls in a little bit further, and then we sort of follow these two figures. One of them, you can see a section ripped out of the back of his cloak, as they dart into a cave. We follow them in, and on the sort of rear shoulder as they're walking in, we see on the back of the shoulder of one of the cultists, the rest of the golden embroidery, and it's a large golden dragon.
Dragon cultists.
I think.
Neo-Nazis.
And the screen plays black and the credits music roll.
The dragons did nothing wrong.
So I think
Regular size nose.
I think we pan in on where we rejoined you guys last time. So I'm going to introduce some slightly different music to what I'm saying, because the day's not too old as of yet. I think it's sort of the middle of the day after you guys have dispatched the ram, and then followed over to the point where you found the rag of the robe of the what we know to be cultists, but the group is still uncertain. But yeah, it's the middle of the day.
Monster.
And where are we? You guys are up on Nil's Rise. Just here. So I think we rejoin you in the same place where you were previously. I stood on the edge of this sort of rise. 3 of you sort of stood around looking at this rag. Do I remember that, Yarla, you weren't actually paying attention? I'm interested to zoom in on that a little bit if you wanted to elaborate at all.
Sure.
So I think we sort of see, because the rest of the group were preoccupied with the evidence of these cultists you were staring off into the distance.
Yeah, staring off towards Appa, which
Is that where you're from?
yes, my hometown is the village of the gnomes.
Yeah, this one over here.
So yeah, I guess a little insight into Yarlet's mind would kind of just be a little playback of the scene from not too long ago. You know, if you got to see her, she'd probably be maybe 2 years younger, still a spry teenager, just kind of tinkering in her own little house. You know, it's a typical gnome house. It's pretty cluttered, looks cozy. And there's a boy gnome like sat right next to her who looks pretty similar to her, but probably 4 years younger.
Okay.
Obviously, some kind of relative.
Right.
And he's just like, geez, you're still working on that? And Yarlet's just like, well, yeah, Bumpky's gonna get back any day now, and I gotta show it to her when she's when she's back.
Brutal.
And then it would kind of fade forward, you know, probably year and a half, to a group of miscreants carrying a white cloth figure through the town, and Yarlet kind of just watching on with silent rage.
Right. Okay.
And fade back.
Excellent. Love it. Cool. Any questions about what we just saw from the rest of the group?
Just tears.
Just
tears.
Was she a wizard at that stage? Or
Yes.
was this before? Okay.
Do you get any idea of what she's working on?
Yeah, it looked like a golden metal sphere with a bunch of like moving clockwork parts. Like it was opened up, but it would close again to create just like a whole golden ball that you couldn't tell had any mechanical insides.
Bumpy would have loved it.
That game show, Golden Balls.
Yeah.
Jasper Carrot.
You never heard of
So
it?
Jasper Carrot came to the village.
Murdered your friend.
Killable.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, love it. Okay.
Do we know what's going on there? I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. So to elaborate a little bit, what she just described is the very first group that we played in this game. Bump Control was the character that Dave played, who came to a rather abrupt end. And then, yeah, the group had to just drop her off in her hometown on the way up to the north. So eventually just paraded her body into town.
So that was the second scene with
Yeah,
the body.
Yes, yeah. So that was her being brought back to her father's inn. We don't actually know what happened after that, but we do know that she was brought back into town. And then the group proceeded leaving her with her father.
Yeah.
Excellent. Perfect. So yeah, inspiration for you, Matt, and then whoever you felt asked the best question, they can have inspiration.
I'll give it to poor tear-struck Dave.
Excellent, love it.
You're in a safe space, buddy. Bumpy Troll lives on.
Cool. So I think we then sort of fade back on the group. So we pan back through. We see the shot one last time of Yarlet looking out over the millwoods to where the ward's at for her. And we sort of pan back to where the rest of the group are. And you are still.
What kind of expression is on your face when you're looking?
I know, like, do you know the 1,000-yard stare?
Yeah.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Okay.
Is it your plan still to head to the west and go try and find some hippogriffs, or?
I think we want to find out who these guys are, don't we? 'Cause we saw them looking at us.
We saw people looking at us, and obviously we're
You
quite,
need to kill them.
Yeah, we're quite torn on whether we want other people to know that golden dragons are around, because they were.
We need to at least investigate, not necessarily kill. Probably kill.
Din? What?
Aren't you guys slightly terrified of being on the mountain at night, though?
Yeah.
Isn't that why we were heading toward the forest?
Yeah.
No, we don't get terrified.
Oh, should we stay on here all night then?
Yeah, well, we want to go fight it now. At least we want each other to think that we want to do that.
Right, well, it sounds
Yeah.
like...
I mean, Run already said no.
Can you both quickly roll insight for me?
Run
Just
already-
the two dragons.
To be honest, Run already said that what he wants to do when he becomes chief, when he gets back is go after Owl's Den. So he doesn't want to do anything like that.
Ooh, that's fine.
But I still got 16.
16?
6.
6. Okay, so your insight allows you to know that you don't want to be here and Din doesn't want to be here. Din knows he doesn't want to be here, but thinks you're putting up a front. Or he doesn't think you're putting up a front, he just thinks that, Run's cool with this, so...
I'm cool with it.
Oh, brother. Alright, well, let's follow the cultist people then.
No, we're going down.
Wait, but you just said that...
No, I didn't. I said, Run does not want to stay on the mountain. Run, no.
Scared.
Yeah, sounds like
Pussy.
I said earlier, little brother, that when we get back to the when we set up, when I become chief, then we'll go and take our powers. We aren't ready yet.
There's no such thing as owls. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. Do you see a giant spider? We're right here. The mountain's right here. There's no giant spider.
It's not dark yet.
How are you going to see the giant spider if it's dark?
Is that so? You don't want to be here?
Add inspiration, Dave.
The fact that we haven't seen it proves it's there.
What?
Yeah.
See, Jim's on my side. He knows what's going on.
So what is the plan? Which way are you guys heading? So you got about half the day left. You could potentially make it to where the hippogriffs are in the west, or where the spires are in the west by nightfall. But you'd arrive there and then it would be dark. If you know what I mean.
I call a vote.
Are we really just letting these people go?
Yeah, I don't think we should let them go either. We
No.
should hurry after them.
Yeah.
All right. let's
All in
go.
favour of following, say aye.
I.
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody throw an inspiration. You lead the group round to the southwest. Pretty much where you are, it's sort of the flat area you were on at the start of the session, looking out over after that sort of curls round the edge of the mountain. You almost follow a bit of a path. It segregates at a few points, and there's parts where you have to scrabble up some cliffs. But you're able to keep on that trail fairly easily. And eventually it does lead you to, when you come round a bend on the path, a large opening to a cave on the side of the mountain.
Let's go in.
Wait a second. Can I just quickly check for either any form of traps, like a pit trap or anything that might be suspended, or any form of web?
Okay, sweet. Yes, you can do all of those things.
Oh, that will be a 19.
19. Okay. I think 19 is enough that you don't see any traps. There's nothing sort of hanging from the ceiling. The cave entrance, your 19 is enough for you to notice that it seems fairly well travelled. It seems like more than the tracks that you pick up on are quickly compounded by some more. It seems like a lot of people come in and out of here, or at least more than you've seen anywhere else on the mountain. It seems like it's quite heavily trafficked. With a 19 as well, I think you don't notice any traps, nothing hanging from the opening to the cave, but something catches your eye when you're sort of looking out around the bend in the mountain. And it's just that you see something. It could just be like some stray hair from like a horse tail or something that's been caught in the breeze, but this wisp-like, it looks like a transparent fabric from where you are.
It's a web.
Just gently wafts in the breeze a little ways around the mountain edge.
Far away?
Not too far. It's where you are. The path sort of cuts out where the entrance to the cave is, and you'd have to sort of climb around. You probably wouldn't be able to get there without climbing equipment.
Yeah.
Round the edge of the mountain and then further up.
Okay. Right, we need to make a decision. If we're gonna go in and have a look around, it means we're staying the night here.
Spiders. Giant spiders. I don't want to. They'll get us.
I agree, we should investigate.
Yeah. The thing is, there are other people here, so if they're less of a threat than the spider, probably inside the cave may be safe. So.
You're sure this is where they went in?
Yeah, you can see, look at all the tracks.
They don't look like spider tracks, right?
Mm-hmm. Also, I'm keeping the web to myself. I'm not telling anybody about the web.
Okay.
Well, these two debate it.
Okay.
I'm gonna, give a little snap and make minor illusion. Just like with the spiders, I'm gonna have the sound of footprints or footsteps going into the cave.
Okay, yeah, you can do that 100%. So we sort of see Yarla just quickly snap her fingers by her side. And you're doing it loud enough that the group can hear it where you are, or are you standing where you're just sort of doing this for your own purposes?
Yeah. I'm just seeing what happens.
Okay, so yeah, you from the distance, you're right. You can sort of see the dust being kicked aside by these footsteps padding into the cave. But after a few seconds, there's no response, no reaction to it.
Okay. Safe enough for me.
Go in, yeah.
Let's go, guys.
Can
Nice.
everybody see in the dark?
So large cave property. There appears to be some sort of hole up in the ceiling because sort of orange light is bouncing in from somewhere up above. You can't really make much out of what's coming down from that way. But the cave does seem to be illuminated from above. You notice, Nuck, with your check that the tracks seem to sort of run. They come in through the door, and then they seem to head off round this way, staying fairly close to this edge. But you do notice that some curve back in. There's sort of like a large rock pile. It looks like this is sort of where the opening in the ceiling must have happened. There's these large rocks. It looks like they've been weathered by the rain, so they've been there a very long time, but they fell down through the ceiling and they sort of create this pyramid of stone that you're confronted with as you get into the cave, sort of backlit by the dropping light from the ceiling. But you do notice that some of the tracks curl in round behind here.
Okay.
The music cuts for a second as we see Yarlet snap her fingers, and like previously, we see the dust sort of pad out in these little shockwaves from the footprints. There's a second where you all sort of hold your breath, but then initially nothing happens. I think just as we see Yarlet's shoulders drop a little bit, the orange light that's coming in from the ceiling, for a moment, it looks sort of like when you see the reflection on the ceiling of water reflecting the sun, how it just for a second, like there's some sort of mild shadowy distortion happening in the light, and then for a second it holds still, so it's shifting and moving, and then it holds still, and you get very clearly silhouetted what looks like a spider's web, in that you just sort of get these extended points coming out from a center, which seems to the center point of it seems to slowly come into focus on the shadow as it gets more and more defined.
Oh no!
We are stealth currently.
You guys reacting at all to this, or are you just gonna?
Stay still.
Okay. Can I get a stealth check from everybody, please? Make it a good
Good luck, everyone.
We've also got so much inspiration right now. I'm going to re-roll that.
Oh, re-roll!
Spend those inspiration points. Oh no, Dave!
So 11 is my best roll.
That's good.
Lord,
I
have
am going to roll this one because he's
Yeah.
going to be looking, but it doesn't
Move
matter.
away from him real slow!
I'm also preparing myself
Push
to
him.
dive into the
Perception is wisdom, isn't it?
Yeah.
1 sec, let me just quickly change this so there's no confusion.
This is where the fucking Zelda music comes up, and on the screen it just says "owls" as the monster rears up.
7.
Ooh!
That's cool. I'm allowed.
So I think we do see it. So what happens is that the shadow seems to slowly come into focus. Do you guys know the type of spiders where they're just all leg, no body? It's just they're when we see them, their legs are almost like hair-like, with a body that's probably no more than the size of it.
Daddy long legs, yeah.
Like, yeah, in America you call those ones daddy long legs, yeah. Like a daddy long legs. We see it descends from the ceiling with utter silence is the only way of describing it. Like something the size that this creature is shouldn't move as slowly as it does, but it moves eerily silently, descending from the ceiling. You sort of see the first 2 legs protrude first, and they seem to descend out of the hole for an impossibly long time before this tiny body emerges. When you can see the body, you do see hanging from the back end of the back end of its torso, almost looking impossibly thin. This needle-like stinger dangles from underneath it, and then it descends slowly to the spots where the footsteps padded in.
You can just see Nuck holding his token to Kuai behind his back,
Right.
just like gripping it.
Can I get nature checks from all of you, please?
Oh, nice.
11.
17.
Correct.
Crit. Okay. So yeah, I'd say you probably, with a crit, you've probably read about owls at some point. You certainly read the legends.
Oh no.
So yeah, you recognise this. Some people describe it as a giant spider. Some call it a giant scorpion. The worst books that you've read appear to be the ones that are true, which put it as some sort of horrible amalgamation of the two.
Scorpion.
They talk about how it's. Which one is it?
It doesn't sound that bad when you say it like that. Oh, it's the scorpion.
Spider.
So yeah, so it's said that the tail has a poison and kill most men instantly, and its bite can subdue a mammoth.
Lucky we're not either of those things.
Yeah.
So how big is it?
No.
Like if it stood up.
No.
It's this big.
Okay.
So like height wise, is it probably like 30 feet high?
How long?
30 feet high.
I'd say about that.
Is
Yeah.
that 20? So it's a 25 by 25 radius.
Yes. Yeah. It should be. Yeah.
Lord in heaven.
That's gargantuan.
No, hold on. So it should be. But that's the space which he occupies. There's sort of a central point, which is because he's so spindly. Most of his space isn't actually sort of.
What's
occupied
even
by-
worse is that even if we killed him, it would make a shit house. Couldn't live in it. It's
actually.
too tiny.
But then you could use the legs. So
Yeah, you can put him up.
basically
You
make
can
a
put him up
giant
like an
tent.
enormous yurt.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Oh
Yeah.
man, we could all live in there with like loads of room.
Oh yeah, I guess.
So yeah, so this is the space which we're saying he sort
I
of
won't live in you guys.
occupies. The legs probably span out to roughly sort of here. At their long, if it was to sort of reach one out, you see what I mean? But it will stand with them curled underneath it.
So it's got pretty
So you probably notice as well, Yarlet, or on the ends of its feet, it seems to have like these long hairs, which seem to be the source of the muffling. You sort of see this thing moves with a sort of slow preciseness. One foot is placed gently at a time. The next one then follows, and then it shifts its body weight. And it continues to move in that fashion.
Oh boy.
That's great then. Let's leave it once it disappears.
into the hole.
Let's
You
go.
want to run?
Why do you want to fight this thing?
No, I would just been stay in the book still.
That's
I
what I'm
hadn't
saying,
noticed
stay
this.
right here. No one breathe.
But
Can
how
he
long-
illusion us a wall?
No.
I would definitely notice that.
Just-
Yeah, at the moment it's just sort of crawling around. You notice that it begins to sort of it lowers its body down from the sort of height that its legs keep it suspended at gently. I mean, you notice it seems to shift its torso around on the floor, around where the blood is, and it seems used to this behaviour.
Just don't breathe.
I mean,
Do we just wait?
You guys just gonna try and wait it out?
Yeah.
so
Okay.
there is no owls, it's just a scorpion.
So yeah, I think you guys just all went and stand there, and after a few seconds, like from the ground, you're in a high lofted cave, but from the ground it pushes its body up and then it extends one long spindle-like leg up, places it on the ceiling, and then begins to slowly but precisely descend away. Again, I think we sort of see where the light's coming in, the orange light's coming in from the hole in the ceiling. It shifts as before, as if the surface of water, but the sun dips across the horizon at the same point. And Owls disappears out of view. You guys are left in the cold dark cave.
All right now.
Into the hole.
Din's lost all pretense of bravery. Let's get in the hole. Let's go.
Well, it smells like Pete.
So instead of walking away from house, we are walking towards house.
We don't know he's
We don't
in there.
know. Yeah, we don't know.
He's
House
gone,
is up.
all we
We're
know
not-
is he's gone up. We don't know he's.
Okay, so,
Wait. Okay. Hang on.
So
Let's do one of those inspiration scenes where we discuss this only in character.
Yeah, if you want to. So let's
brilliant.
quickly bring the rules back up. Time down for that. I think this is the perfect opportunity for one of those. So let me just quickly drop back on the screen so we can see what we're doing here.
I should get drunk for next one.
in the middle of the morning.
Nothing like a Saturday morning blaze.
Wine for breakfast. Been there,
Never
done
again,
that.
Just
never
pour a cider over your cereal. Go absolutely nuts. My God, there's a giant page in the room now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a dance revolution again.
It says here.
Oh, I listened to that this morning. That was
It
hilarious.
says here, Din's a bitch. My God, I never would have known.
I quite agree.
Ominously peering out.
Okay.
So if there's an important decision the group needs to make, or a conflict between their interests that needs to be resolved, the group can choose to resolve this in an in-character scene. During the scene, all discussion is limited to talking in character, describing your character's actions and mannerisms, and questions to the DM about where you are and what you're doing. Any other discussion will result in immersion being lost, and the scene being failed. If the players can successfully complete the scene in character, and everyone gains 3 inspiration.
Let's do this.
Ooh. We could use that to level up.
I'm more thinking I get 10 inspiration, and then if Alice comes down, I bend the world to my whim.
He befriends us. You ride him out.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so are we all down to do it?
Actually, your brother in a giant mechanical suit.
We've got away with it too, it won't be meddling kids.
See who the spider really is.
So you guys gonna do this then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we sort of close in on the scene a little bit closer. The camera tucks in, and we see the 2 dragons sort of crouched at the opening of this cave. Probably one hand on the side, peering down into where the gnome and the dwarf are underneath. You guys are sort of both. The dwarf, you would be sort of like held with your head against the ceiling. Yarl, you'd be stood fairly comfortably.
All right, I got a plan. I just checked this. Don't ask me how, but nothing is going to attack us if we step right out into it. But there's a lot of cobwebs. So I can... the fireman from before will make a distraction in there to lure that giant spider down again. And as soon as he comes down, we go this way.
He's on the gravel fields.
No, he's here. He followed us.
But we just saw him there.
Yeah.
He didn't notice us.
And he
That's enough for me to say, I don't want to see him again.
Yeah, I agree with this. That we probably shouldn't attract the attention of the giant spider.
But
We went that way. We're going this way.
That's
Right,
good enough
but
for me.
that's...
Yeah.
We don't know what's up there. He could drop down in this side of the cavern. We don't know if there's a hole in the roof here.
However, we know that there are cultists this way. Therefore, there must be some safe place, safe
Yeah,
place that
but
they're
they
saying.
also might know a trick to not lure him, like rubbing some kind of like blood on them so it doesn't smell them, or...
Pause for a second. Everybody roll. It'd be investigation.
Ooh, investigation.
3.
17 plus...
7.
Investigation. Why can't I find... Oh, ooh, 17 plus 6. That's 23.
And what did you get? What-
Intelligence I've got, because...
Plus 4 plus
Invest...
2.
Yeah.
what did you get, Serena?
9.
Okay, so yeah, so I think as you're saying it, like rubbing blood on themselves or something, and then you remember the blood that was spotted in the other room, and where the drag marks are, and everything sort of clicks into place. Once we sort of probably see your eyes snap open for a second, and you realise the blood appears to be, based on the behaviour that owls did when it came down and stuff around the spot. You think that whoever's been coming in here has been dragging something else in, throwing it for owls to do whatever owls does with, and then moving on through whilst it's distracted.
So...
Specifically in that spot.
So yeah, so that's
in
why,
that other
that's why
cave-
in here you can see, if I get rid of this again, if you remember the 2 sets of tracks, one of them came round the bottom, bringing that around here, and then another set came up and went up to here where you found the blood. And then when you saw owls come down and snap around on the ground, it's because he was expecting to trip you.
So, definitely need to distract him over there. I'm 100% on that. If we go in here without distracting him, we'll probably die.
As a suggestion, then we have this giant goat corpse.
we get a bump cut outside, like this carcass you've left out on the side of the mountain, like flies beginning to buzz around it.
I like you, Nuck. That's a perfect plan. Literally the perfect plan. Someone's gonna have to go get that goat carcass. They'll drag it, throw it here, and then we're all gonna have to move real quickly through here. I've got the perfect way to decide, okay? Raise your hand if you've eaten shit in the past 48 hours. Go get the goat carcass.
Fuck you, little girl.
I'm not... You're freakishly tall, okay?
Roll
This
it.
is a normal...
Roll a stealth check, please, Yala. You're raising your voice. What's a 1?
1.
So I think as
Give me
Yala...
time to re-roll.
As Yala...
Yeah, hang on, I might use inspiration.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Let's try that again. 18.
Okay.
Plus 3. So.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, that'll be enough.
Inspiration well used.
Down to 8.
Cool, so yeah, you hush, you whisper shout at him.
Sure.
As I remember, the goat corpse was too heavy for me to lift on my own, and she's definitely not going to be able to get it.
Come on, Ben.
I believe in you two.
Excellent, there you go. with that, we see Yarla's small thumb come up. I believe in you two. Scene complete.
Woo! We did it!
Whack 3 inspiration on the sheets each.
That was fun. I like that.
I said like one thing.
That's
You're a
fine.
man of few words.
I'm at 11.
Yep, same.
My silence was in character.
And then Yarla, as you duck through and bring your light. Let's look next at this. Let's see what you guys see. Treasure.
Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum,
Like 80 elves just all clustered
So
around.
I'm going to say that the dim light, the torch that you bring in is enough that like you can make out the size and shape and the basic idea of the space you're in. You can't see clearly. If someone's trying to hide from you, they'll be find it. And you can, I'm just going to reveal this room as opposed to doing it bit by bit. Right. So yeah, this is what you see.
Ooh.
So I think that this is the first thing that catches your eyes. You go and see. You sort of come through. You dip your head underneath, and you put a hand on Din's back and pull yourself up, and you sort of lift your torch up above his head so you can get an idea of the space you're in. And then you illuminate the space, and there is just enormous webs on every surface of this space. And all manner of different skeletons seem to be pinned to the walls in different spaces. Roll. Can I get a perception check from the two of you that are in there, please? Let's see what you see. How much you see.
Crit.
Crit. 7. 7. Okay. So yeah, you see more. Dean, I think your 7 is representative of the one thing that catches your eye, and then you can't seem to break away from it. It's the large corpse to your left, completely covered in dust and web, but the shape is unmistakable. There was a dead dragon in here. Yala, you see more. So what was it? A crit? Did you say? Excellent. So you see your eyes don't get quite as caught. Obviously, you glance over and see this dust-covered dragon that's in here. But you look around and you see everything else as well. There's mammoths all over the place. There's all manner of different husks of different creatures. They all seem dusty and decayed. But a few things that do catch your eye in particular is you see quite a few naked men dotted all over the place. Like there seems to be a concentration of them, and they seem to be the newest of the corpses. I mean, they've all got their hands bound with rope.
Let's see. Can I tell? Is the dragon? Does it still have its scales and everything?
It looks like it's fairly intact, but it's been covered in an age is worth. The dragons have been gone for an age, so it's covered in that amount of dust and stuff that you can't tell. You wouldn't be able to tell which variety of dragon you've got here.
Imagine if we put dragon corpse back.
I'm on your back, so you can't see that my eyes have turned into like gold bars as I peer at this dragon. I'm like hyperventilating. I'm like, holy shit! Forget living in this thing. We can literally move to wherever we want, live wherever we want. All we have to do is get that dragon.
It's probably old and dusty enough you wouldn't be able to convince anybody in the tribe that you killed this. Unless,
Sure.
yeah.
We can sell it. I don't need to convince anyone of shit.
There's that.
All the mammoths, I assume, are like too dusty to convince everyone that we killed it. Is there anything fresh enough that we could convince the tribe we killed it?
Uh,
Anything of worth? Like obviously the humans would be.
I'd say you notice they sort of seem to be hung from the ceiling, and there's a few fairly new-looking hippogriffs, but the disadvantage to them is that they all seem to have these enormous puncture wounds that seem to have been made by Owl's fangs.
And not to mention, you have to remove something bigger than us out of House's lair.
Yeah, so everything is completely webbed in this space.
Remember this from when we're level 20.
And they're like, oh, we need some dragon's teeth. Really?
Yeah. Alright, so for now I'd say let's move on through.
That's
Yeah, bear in mind this seems to be where he deposits things.
Yeah.
He's going to be coming into this room very soon.
Yeah.
That-
Well, I do see. I think you can.
Is there a spot on the ceiling? Can I see with my crit?
What's that?
How does he get in?
You crit, so yeah, you can see. So I will actually unveil. Anyway, yeah, I'm a bit more just to tease.
There's a back door to this place.
There appears to be a hole up on the roof there. So this sort of greyed outlined area represents sort of like it's up sort of in the ceiling. You can see there is a hole that appears to curve where you can sort of see. You can't see much other than that it appears to come to some sort of T junction almost immediately.
Okay.
We need to get through it quick.
Yeah, as Din, I think you deduced that he's dragged some big stuff in here, so it may not take him long to move out.
So let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Guys, we dragon's teeth, dragon's claws.
No,
weapons.
Not
we can
now.
make out of that.
Not now.
No, it's not the time.
Hail there, friends. We're not posing any harm. We're just investigating.
Okay.
I just mean if we leave the boulder out without coming after us.
Okay, you shouldn't be able to fit in the corridor that's behind you. I think we established that you can't get into this area here. Okay, so yeah, you call out, and then a man appears in the front of the light. And he's the same as what we described when we saw them in the previous episodes. You can see him a lot more clearly now. He's got long black silk robes, and you can see there's gold gilding all around the edges and ends of the sleeves, and some sort of golden embroidery which is peering over the shoulder. I'll probably say you can't see the dragon that's on his back at the moment. But you can certainly see that he's wearing very flash robes. The man inside the robes isn't anywhere near as glorious as the robes he's wearing. He's very sort of like shrunken, dirty-looking man. He doesn't look too dissimilar from one of the cultists of Frank's. He looks like that's a similar sort of character. A little bit of a rash growing down between his left eye and his nose. And he hears you and he looks around as if he's going to respond. It's a bit of a baffled expression on his face, but his eyes immediately lock on the two dragons and his mouth hangs agape. Do you guys say anything while he stood there for a moment? Or
Yeah, I'm just like, don't worry, we're not here to hurt you. We're just looking around. We wanted to investigate this legend. Yeah, we found our way here. Here, a token of my intention. I'll take out the bottle of vodka that I filled up with the stuff. So the old bottle
Right.
I had.
Yeah.
And then I'll just toss it over to him.
Okay, sure. So yeah, he sort of stood there, mouth agape. I think the bottle like hits him in the chest, and then just drops onto the floor. And he's sort of like as if sort of like alerted. He looks down at the bottle as it hits the ground, and then he like goes to bow down and kneel. Like he starts like moving to his knees, and then you hear somebody saying something from behind him. It's hushed and you can't really make it out. And he looks over his shoulder and begins to stand up and looks as if he's about to bolt in the other direction.
Until then, I was quite happy for him just to stand looking shocked in awe at us.
I'm thinking the net is the solution.
It's always a net with you.
He's got alcohol and net in succession.
I mean, can't throw it from here. I'd have to run up to him quickly.
That immediately escalates the situation.
Yeah, but he's gonna run away.
We could just.
Okay.
Dangerous.
Can I just? Who's the most charisma?
It might be Din.
Might be Din.
It's me,
What does
actually.
Din have?
No,
Plus
it is
three.
Dave.
+4.
Wow,
Plus
plus
four.
one.
He's a paladin, he should be.
I'm very charismatic. Oh, that.
Damn,
I'll
son, where'd you find
That's the
those?
save. No, yeah.
Oh, I keep doing
So I'm +3 then.
Okay, so yeah, so Dean, you're the most charismatic.
Boy. I'd say.
I'd say you noticed that his first instinct was to bow.
Yeah, I'd say I can see you are shocked. So don't move.
Okay, roll persuade for me.
What tone are you saying don't move in?
With the threat of
Don't move.
don't move.
Oh, nice.
So persuade would be 70.
17. Okay. Yeah, I think that's enough. Somebody's whispering over and he looks like he's about to bolt, but then no, he stays and he takes a single knee. And he looks too afraid to say anything to you though. But he's adhering to what you're saying. I'd say at this point you do hear padded footsteps behind him though, and what sounds like somebody disappearing down the tunnel.
That was going to happen. We just moved the boulder. So I guess if we approach him closer.
I take my bottle back.
So yeah, you scoop your bottle up out of the dirt, and he looks a bit sheepish at you, but he looks far more concerned about the dragons.
Yeah.
So you're asking him to come closer.
So I quite move towards him at least.
Okay, yeah. So I say run as you're moving in closer. Like every step you take towards him, he seems to move an extra inch closer to the ground, as if shrinking in your presence.
But first say, who was that that just ran away? What do you think that one's about to do?
He says, he's sheepishly says, it was just my brother. He's probably going to tell the others.
The others?
The rest of our order.
And you are?
We are but humble worshippers, heralding the return.
Ask him what his name is.
Then you sort of say of, and he goes, you.
Then we have returned.
So yeah, and I think as that he presses his forehead firmly against the ground.
That's when we pause for an outbreak.
Let's put this guy at your feet.
Do they have any type of gear on them? Or does he?
He's only got like a rusty looking saber hanging from his side. Or actually, I think it'd be a dagger. Yeah, rusty looking curved blade or an old sort of knife.
I just say, what's down that other way?
Which way are you pointing?
Back the other way, so the other way at the fork.
So to the left.
Yeah.
He says that's where the master's quarters are and the rest of camp.
What's back the other way, to the right, at the first fork?
What behind you, that way?
The fork
Yeah.
boulder.
Yeah. He says you don't want to go that way. That's where she lays her eggs.
Oh, lordy. The
Which
boulder!
one? Yeah, I say
Go
which
move the boulder back right now!
And I look at Dinner like, I'm in it. We gotta move that.
So you guys shove the boulder back into place?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Again, I'm gonna be like, okay.
Pack the dirt. Pack the dirt.
You grab the spades and pack the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
100%.
Yeah. You guys begin padding up the slope, and as you're sort of moving up, you can see there's a bit of a camp up further ahead. And as your torchlight slowly sweeps up, a figure stood waiting for you at the entrance. And we see he looks the same as the two dragons we've got in the group. He's considerably skinnier than the two of you, a little bit shorter. He's a meek figure. He looks more like Charlie than the other two of you probably do. A little bit skinnier in his frame. But he stood there. You can see that he's in a similar robe to the remainder of the remainder of the cultist, but his has considerably more gilding all over it. And these golden dragons are embroidered all over.
You're gonna have to introduce me to your tailor.
And he stands. He doesn't say anything initially. He's just stood staring at the two of you, looking a bit pensive. And do either of you say anything upon seeing him?
I walk towards him quite slowly
Okay.
and go, Chucky! Excitedly.
Okay, and you extending your arms out for a hug, are you?
We'd be going for what the dragons would be, or the dragon
The
would be
dragon
equivalent
equivalent of a hug.
The bro hug, yeah.
Okay.
What is that? And start biting each other.
Really bro hug.
Yeah. Much back patting.
Yeah. Pop, 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 pop.
Okay. Yeah, I think he reciprocates. I mean, he says it. He sort of like as you sort of in this embrace, he sort of whispers in your ear like, how did you find me?
We weren't looking for you.
We've been looking non-stop.
We are on our own trial, brother.
Okay, he sort of like takes a step back and looks down. And he says, "You're on the trial. Why are you not out in the gravel fields?"
We are looking for a bigger prey. And we were looking for something else, and then we met that.
We found the other something else.
We followed a goat.
Goats lead you to magical places.
I ate goat shit, and now here I am.
Yeah, he like leans over your shoulder to look at the group behind you, looking puzzledly at your two companions that you seem to have gained. He gives Din a curt nod, and then he sort of says, "So what did you say? You said you followed a goat."
I guess we said
Let's say we're on the trial.
we're on the trial and looking for bigger prey than just what's in the gravel field.
He gives a bit of a grin at that, and he says, "Fancy hunting owls, did you?"
That wasn't part of the plan, but it seems that's what we're here to do. We're here. We've seen them now.
He grins quite widely and says, "So you see what a bad idea that was."
I have to ask, how do you live near it?
He says, I found my way. So I came here looking to make a name for myself, but quickly found myself outmatched, scrabbling through the dark in his lair. He forced me back through to these caves where I thought I was going to die. But after some time rooting around the darkness, I found something. And I chose to stay.
What did you find?
Okay, about that, the camera sort of like pans over Chappie's shoulder, and we sort of see this camp. The rest of the surroundings you've been into seem fairly beaten up. It's very much just a cave with tarps thrown on the floor. There's a couple of fairly nice, well-made tents here. One large yurt-like tent which has got these golden embroideries on the outside of it. But he looks over his shoulder towards the far end, and you can see a rail's been put up over this opening in the cave with a large red curtain. And then he says, "I cannot show you. Not yet, but I'll explain." And he goes to walk past you and lead you round the corner.
There is so much to talk about. Expensive.
Okay, so yeah, I think we have sort of like a walking conversation. I'm not going to treat this as being in combat now.
If he's leading us out, can I try and stealth so I get left behind?
100% you can.
I was gonna do the same
Yeah.
I just uncork the bottle, go, stop to take a drink, and I just don't start going again.
Okay.
And they will walk past.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll let's split this into we'll split the party now briefly, and I think we'll follow the group down the corridor.
What was the name of the dragon from like the ancient legends?
There was the ancient legends didn't really have the only dragon from ancient legends is what's his name? Shao Kahn, who's the one who fought the monks. Yeah. Other than that, there aren't really any named dragons of history. Those just gold and silver. The evil and the not so evil.
What colour was Shao Kahn?
He was neither.
Wasn't either.
You guys, well, as Nuck, you can roll a history and see what you know about Shao Kahn.
I wasn't sure if it was just like a well-known legend.
It is, yeah, I think it would be.
Would our
So you don't
father
need
have
to
told
explore.
us about them?
Actually, no, you worship Kuwai, so you would know, sorry.
Oh, no.
Because he's linked directly to Kuwai.
Okay.
So Kuwai is the goddess who basically inhabits she's our sort of goddess of the Tempest, but she's basically the spirit of the Eastern Sea.
Yeah.
The water that surrounds you guys, and currently keeps all of the orcs at bay.
Yeah.
By her rage. Basically, the deal with Kuwai is she's depicted as a woman with torrents of waves as her hair. Like the waves, she's just supposed to be. She has unrelenting fury, which needs to be in some way directed. At the moment, that fury is currently being directed to anybody who tries to cross the water without her blessing. But previously in history, the gods convinced her to tame that fury.
Right.
That eventually bubbled over to the point where just the sheer rage of this god's untapped rage or suppressed rage manifested itself, and what it manifested itself as was Shao-Kahn, a dragon described made as entirely as lightning.
Okay. What was I going to say? I had another question.
He's always on there.
Oh yeah, was so is Kuai on the level of the other gods, or is she more like a sort of spirit guardian, demigod type thing?
They're all sort of on that sort of level on this one. The gods of this world are to a certain extent all powerful. I think like Greek gods is probably the best sort of comparison.
Right.
They're very like Greek gods in that they're not sort of all powerful. They all have limits. There's only some of them who can sort of see you wherever you are. Generally, they only reign over their own domains, and like Greek gods, they're meddling fuckers.
Yeah.
And we like to get involved in everything.
Like frags.
Yeah, like frags. Kuai is particularly like that. Or Kuai just needs to constantly be occupied by something. For a quick wee as well.
Yeah, and then just have a look in what I can only assume is Chaki's tent.
Okay, so yeah, the entrance to Chaki's tent is a lot more grandiose than everything else that you've seen. There seems to be a lot of fine sort of silks in here, as well as just other crates of general bits. There's sort of boxes stacked around the edges of the tent, and a large bed which has been sort of clumsily made in the centre of the other side. It looks like the same as the other beds which the two previous tents had in, but this one somebody sort of made it into a four-poster using some simple logs and rope, and then draped silk over it.
Right.
And whoever owns this bed obviously wanted to feel important. And you can just see it's very much like you'd expect like a Mongolian's chief to be. It doesn't look too similar. It makes you think of back home in Tai Cheng. The way the Chief O'Doul's tent is laid out.
Yeah.
This seems like a mini version of O'Doul's tent, except instead of like there being pelts hung over stuff, it's got like these fine silks thrown around the place.
Okay. Is there anything I can see that I would just find useful? Like,
not at a glance. There seems to be so much of this silk piled up, that you'd have to go rummaging to find anything.
yeah, I just want to do like a quick rummage through and just see if I see anything. I'm not
Okay.
spending too much time, and I'm not particularly trying to be quiet either.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you go rummaging through a few bits. I'd say the main thing that you find that you'd see of any use, or probably the only thing, is next to Charlie's bed. You push back one of these sheets of red silk, and then underneath it, coiled up in a roll as a whip.
Ooh, kinky.
You notice there's a little bit of blood on the tip.
Very kinky. I'm gonna just take the whip and just stash it underneath my robe I'm now wearing.
Okay, yeah.
Just sort of like attached to whatever I've thrown together for a belt, and then I'm just gonna head up and see what I can see at the top of the
You're
thing.
gonna go look through the curtain.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think at this point, Nuck moves over to where the curtain is. He places a hand on one side and begins pulling it across, and then we bump back to the other. So yeah, I think Chaki rounds the rest of the corner. He continues. We sort of catch the end of what he was saying previously again. He's like, I found people who can treat us with respect. What I found here, I found people who are willing to worship. Finish what our forefathers started. People who know how to kneel. And as he rounds the corner,
I'm feeling real uncomfortable right now.
he sort of rounds you into the corner.
We
and-
brought tribute.
Let's quickly reveal this area.
She's only little, but she'll do for now.
So yeah, so let's just move you over there first. So he takes you up round the bend past a room here where the sled was, and then into this space here.
Are we going to see one from the
You're
other
on the
side? We're going to see him peering through the curtain.
And then you can see there's a large area here which has been carved out, and you can see at the other side. There's columns. These large slabs here are all columns that are being carved up. You can see some rickety-looking scaffolding has been erected, and there's cultists up and around the top of the scaffolding, working on these columns, carving something into them. You can see that on the floor some like ditches have been dug to make sort of like these makeshift almost pews where you just sit on the ground and then your feet are into the bottom. And at the other side you can see there's a statue of what looks like it's been well completed. What's clearly the visual of Chaki on one side, but he has his hands placed on some other figure that's to his side, considerably smaller, and they haven't finished carving it yet. He rounds the corner. He says, "This is where they worship us. This is where I tell them the tales and herald of the return." And I think that's when we cut back to where Nuck is. He begins pulling the curtain across, and we can see there's actually already some light inside.
The suspense is too much to bear.
What's it gonna be?
So yeah, Nuck, you finish tucking the whip in.
Born in the wood.
You finish tucking the rope in behind your back, and you see you press your hand on the curtain and pull it across. And the room that's in the other side, it seems empty initially. At first you're blinded for a second because there's actually a hole which seems to lead to the outside. So the bright light for a second blinds you, but as you're able to adjust slowly, you can see the light.
Was it daytime again already?
What's that?
Was it daytime again already?
Yeah, I think it probably would be in the amount of time you've been shopping around in the dark, or at least it might be moonlight, but it's hard to tell when you've been in pitch black for that long. So yeah, it probably is sort of like early morning light, if you know what I mean, coming in. So it's probably like 4 or 5 in the morning when the sun's just beginning to suggest coming over the horizon. As the light sort of pours in, you squint into the darkness, and initially the room seems empty, but you can see from the other side of the shadow, and there appears to be a figure huddled in the corner. It notices you coming in, and you see it shrinks down backwards a little bit.
Okay. Just with like this shocked look on my face, I was expecting to see like a giant corpse or something, or something like a giant stone tablet or something like that. So I'm just like, okay. Can I see what race it is, or what it is?
Yeah, I think you give it a few seconds, and as you don't like pad out to the room, it gingerly places a foot forward into the light, and it becomes immediately apparent what you're looking at with the first foot that's illuminated, and as gold begins to reflect off the scales on the back of its foot. It takes a step forward, and it looks incredibly shrunken and meek, but a small dragon begins to pad out into the centre of the room. It doesn't look anywhere as grand as you expected a dragon to look. It's much smaller, and it appears to be covered in long welted red lines. The whip begins to burn in your back pocket.
Is it like, is that a descriptive thing, or does it actually?
So yeah, it becomes like your mind puts 2 and 2 together. The reason that wood is covered in blood is that it's been used on this dragon. You can tell this is nowhere near the size of the one that was in the other room. This one's tiny.
Yeah, it's like a infant dragon.
Is this like bigger than him or no?
It's probably sort of like large, very large dog size.
Okay.
Like a Shire horse type size.
Should be smaller than me, or I mean bigger than me or Nuck, but
Yeah,
smaller
probably
than those two.
To those two, it'd be like the size of like a German Shepherd.
Okay.
To most people, it would be a bit bigger.
How big is the hole in the ceiling?
It looks big enough to sort of like crawl through. It's on the roof. It looks like you could get out that way.
But the dragon can't.
The dragon doesn't appear to be able to now, or it certainly hasn't done so. It's sort of like it moves into the light, looking unsure towards you as it pads slowly out into the centre of the room, and its head held low.
Can I leave any evidence?
This is your chance. How to tame your dragon. The movie. Toss in a ration.
But then he'll know that I was here.
How? It's gonna eat the ration.
Well, the only thing. Oh, actually, I guess I've got some like dry rations as well, haven't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to. Yeah, I think I'm just going to grab a ration, toss it to it, and just wait to see if it takes it, and then if it does, I'm just going to leave.
Okay. Yeah. Roll an animal handling check for me, please.
I'm not getting close to it at all.
No, that's fine.
I want to be I'm gonna spend one point of inspiration.
Okay.
I want to leave a good impression on this.
Okay, cool.
I do have a +1.
Oh.
No. Do I want to spend another one?
Do it.
Fuck it, I'll spend another one. I'll go down to 9 points. Oh my god!
Oh no.
You've already spent. You might as well. Or it was all for naught. Just spend one more. Just go down to 8.
Down to 8. Okay. Come on, please! 1! So that's a high of a 6. No,
So yeah, no, I think
5. Yeah.
4 rolls.
So I think you toss this thing out, but it like as it sort of pads into the in front of it, this young dragon flinches, and you see like the foot that it had stepped out in front, where it's moving, whips up in towards itself, and then it shrinks back away into the corner. And I think we briefly return back round to the temple, where we see the statue of Jarly, and everybody who's at work has turned around to look at the people who've just entered, and then Jarly gestures up. Chacky gestures up to the statue, and he says, "I've heralded the return of the dragons. All bow."
Here we are.
No, it's in the back like.
Gets real 1939 flashbacks here.
She climb up on my back. Safe up there.
I am impressed, brother. We all.
So you
I'm
probably
proud
haven't
of you,
you
brother.
probably haven't figured out just from the misshapen shape of the other statue that what he's found. You actually roll a perception for me. See if you can figure out what the statue is.
19 plus 1, 20. Non-natural 20.
Critical fail.
Okay, so
You have no fucking.
you don't, but the other two of you do realise that, like, from the beginning of the carving, like he's got his hand on what appears to be carving out a dragon.
Oh shit.
Amazing sculpturing you have on you there, Jack.
Is that your dog?
That's a lovely
German
looking,
Shepherd.
That's a lovely looking goat thing. I would point to I'm guessing the sacrificial spot in front where there's all the blood, and say, and what? Who gets sacrificed?
He grins and says, "Whoever needs to."
I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you, brother.
Are you?
He is my brother, and we are strong, proud dragon blood.
Oh no, you were back.
We were the bad.
You were.
They're the fucking Nazis.
You're rolling with a bunch of Nazis.
Yep, and I just found the prison camp.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the
Discovered the fucking dragon Auschwitz back there.
No, the legend would very much put them the other way around. Is the issue there? Like when the Great War happened, the Golden Dragonborn was serving the Golden Dragons, and they didn't keep them as pets. Like they were very much subservient.
Yeah.
It was very much the driving force of the dragons. The dragons were very much the ones who believed that everybody should be kneeling before them, and the Dragonborns were just the highest up in the pecking order of the people who were kneeling.
I see. So he's trying to reverse it.
So, okay. Nuck is now thinking about rejoining the group as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So, can I just quickly have a look in that tent and see what it says on the book?
What, on the guy's face?
Yeah.
So yeah, you'd probably like lean over and it would. I don't know what the title would be. It would clearly be a book on like Golden Dragon lore. So it's like he's revising history. Almost like the thickness of it, like the book's been decorated. Like some of the embroidery that's happened on the cloaks, they've clearly taken some silk and actually embroidered it to the cover of this book.
Okay. Yeah. Do I think I'll wake him up if I take the book off?
You'd have to be very. The sleight of hand check would be like a 1920 to lift it from his face and not wake him.
I'm gonna try because I don't mind if he wakes up. So I'm gonna see if I can take the book. That's plan B, plan A.
Okay.
Plan B.
Sure.
Nope. Why am I just rolling 4s?
Okay. So no, you go to like
What's
lift up his face, and your fat dwarven fingers sort of hook into his nose. I mean, his head's pulled up, and he sort of splutters, pushes the book.
What was that?
That's a 4.
He pushes the book away with his hand, but it is left in your hand when he's done. And he sort of sits up, looks confused, and you've got a second to do something if you like. But
I just say, I'm new. Where do I take a dump?
he squints at you for a second, takes a second to survey his surroundings. Roll deception for me.
Do I get advantage because I'm wearing the cloak?
You do, yes.
Come on.
I gave you the dice. Use it.
That one.
That was a good one. Always got me good.
What's my deception is +1.
Did you get 9 so far?
That's an 11.
That's the first roll above 10 you've gotten in a while,
Yeah.
so.
So 11. So let's see what this guy's got.
14. Oh, I think I might be over it. There we go.
No, now you used it up.
I'm back on a 4.
Now it's gone.
6. 16. 18. 19. Oh, God.
Yeah.
5. Okay, we're back on now.
If it had been a 20, that would have been fucking epic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wisdom, isn't it? Insights for
Yeah.
no advantages for him, but so he gets a 13.
What did I bet?
You got.
You got an 11, didn't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, so no, he lets Scrunch like, dwarf? How did you get? And he like sits up and he's like, where's everybody else?
No, I'm lost.
It wasn't quick if I were you.
Yeah, he looks like he doesn't believe you, and he reaches his hand across to something which is on the table beside his bed.
Suck a bunch.
Yeah.
Out cold, please. Hopefully.
Okay, so yeah.
Good choice, good choice.
Yeah, I'll say no. I think we're going to need to, because he's reaching something. I think we are going to need to roll initiative to decide what order these things happen in.
It's just down the corridor. It's like the Pokemon battle music kicks in. Like,
Let's have the.
That was a 13, but I'll let you reroll it because it wasn't on the table.
Oh,
Come on.
Steve.
What's he get? Does he get a plus?
He does. It's 22.
I can't even beat him. Not even with a
yeah,
20,
it's
so
literally
it
impossible.
doesn't matter.
Two.
So yeah, you're going second in this order. So let's move you over.
About an hour after him.
So yeah, I think he manages to reach the charm that's on his side. That's on his side table. It does appear to be some sort of spellcasting focus. It's a simple sort of like gold chain that he scoops up and claps to his chest. He hisses a few words in what appears to be clumsy draconic, and he casts Hold Person.
It's lucky.
We're trying to freeze them.
Yeah.
What level is
Drag
it?
him to a sacrificial pit.
Fetch the sled.
Or maybe he'll just take him into Alice's chamber.
He wrapped up.
So, wisdom saving throw. Or at least I've got a +1 to wisdom. Oh wait, saving throw. No, not for monks. No, 5.
Okay. So yeah, no, he whispers something. He whispers
6, yeah. Cheers, Dave. Thanks. I'm glad to know you got my back there.
buddy.
So yeah, he hisses something in clumsy draconic. Oh, that's not even just on the first level. Yeah, he hisses something in draconic, and all of your muscles seize at the same time. I mean, you're stuck in exactly the same position. Were you going for a punch? So,
No, I was going for my staff.
okay, so yeah, so I think your hand's like reaching over to your shoulder, and then you're just locked in position. And that's the sort of power situation then reaches. Okay, so that's a full action. So that's his turn. He uses his movement to scoop himself up out of bed.
Mhm.
It's your turn. You're paralysed, and at the end of your turn, you can make an attempt to.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I can do.
So yeah, the only thing you can do is to unparalyse yourself.
Come on,
essentially.
I'm not going to give up on this dice.
Why? You should. You should give up on
It's not rolling anymore, it's just bouncing and going.
Straight to that number.
Yeah.
So what was that?
That will be a 4.
A 4. So no, yeah.
Another 4.
You remain held.
Really well.
He takes a second, like he sidles like right up, sort of with like within kissing distance.
I'm like,
Yeah, he says you don't go anywhere, and he pegs it off round the corner.
Oh!
So So let's have a look. What's his movement? 30 feet. So
It was all going so well.
he moves
Just
60.
not half like
Take him on to here.
Oh boy.
We're gonna be Nazis together.
He's gonna be 120.
And so now it's your turn. So the same as before, but at the end you just pick your turn.
Or again!
I was rolling 5 out.
There is more than just fools on that dice, right?
No. It's literally a D4.
So let's think.
And
So
it's more than 4.
each turn is. Let's put,
I'm sticking with you, mate.
so let me get, with a concentration spell, if you move outside of the range of the spell, does the concentration range?
Not unless it specifically says.
Okay.
So the range is how far it has to be for casting it,
Yeah.
and then unless it says like Mage Hand, if you move outside of the range, it just stays. There's unlimited distance essentially.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, now on this one, that's not the case then.
So
So yeah, you are still gripped. So you've done yours. So you did your second attempt, you didn't make it then.
No.
He's going to run again. So
so well.
he's going to keep vaulting.
We're all gonna be brothers. And
60
Yana.
feet.
Woo!
Hanging with the bad guys.
Woo!
Well,
Well,
each
I
have to
am.
get out.
So let's see if you get out first. So yeah, your turn.
That's a 9.
And
No,
9.
no.
What do you need to get?
I don't know, probably like 11 or 12.
Oh, it's another. So the same as the original saving throw. Oh, no,
Yeah.
yeah, same as the original save.
What was the original?
The
save?
original save was.
Well, I don't think we ever actually said because it will be based on that person's, that NPC's spell save.
Okay. It's DC 11.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So what do you get?
9.
9. Okay. So now
Hey there, buddy.
he continues dashing.
I mean, should I just keep rolling to see how long it takes me to get out of it?
Yeah, let's do that.
So, there, out. So
Out,
another
okay.
6 seconds later, I'm out.
Okay, cool. So let's move him his other 60 feet.
boy. Hey, you can get the book now at least.
I mean, you've got the book. I'm holding it.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, he left the book's still in his hand. So yeah, Nuck, you're free. It's your turn then.
Okay. I'm not going to catch up to him. I'm going into that room to force that chest open.
So the one thing I will say is as you round this corner, I will tell you about it and I'm going to reveal it. As you notice something that has been in the room this entire time, but I'm going to reveal the text that goes along with it. There's this.
Huh.
Do it. Believe in yourself.
DC 16. I'm not strong at all, though. I would have to roll 16 or higher.
Yeah, believe in yourself. You got inspiration.
I don't want to spend any more. I've already spent too much.
Use a different dice.
Here.
This dice.
No, it's let you down countless times. It's not gonna. He keeps drinking and beating you. Just break up with him.
Built up my trust, and now, okay.
Believe in yourself.
Fine. I'm gonna roll the boulder. Hopefully. Come on. No. That's a 9.
Use this person. Just one. Just one. You can do it.
Oh.
You can do it. You can do
I
it.
use 1 inspiration. I don't
So
think it's gonna work.
Nuck gets his fingers underneath the boulder and begins to...
I believe.
No.
2.
I'm just rolling abysmally.
Yeah.
Anyone want to donate him an inspiration?
I will if I can roll it.
Sure.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I've got 11. I can go down 1. So here we go. Ugh, 13. Not enough.
So yeah, it's not enough.
Damn
You know,
it.
you're not able to move it. It budges slightly, but not enough to send it careening down the hill.
Trying to.
You've got another. So yeah. So
You could donate 1.
we should. Keep
Well, I just don't want to lose 10 because then
Yeah.
if we get into a real bad situation, I can save us.
Okay.
So why don't you donate 1? Just donate 1.
We should explore that
I've got
around
an
next
idea.
turn.
I've got an idea for my next turn.
So well, yeah. So we're going in initiative order. He moves to there, and
Mhm.
this is your turn again. You're by the boulder.
So we still
Staff
move
out, lever.
Yeah. I'll reduce it down to a 10 for that.
Okay. Which one?
Anything but
So
that.
it's, where did you drop out, Smith? Because this is going to be probably the last thing we do. What was the last thing you saw?
We're deciding whether to push the boulder.
Oh yeah, so he currently failed on one turn doing it, and he's now jammed his staff in underneath it, and the DC's down to a 10.
One! Critical fail.
Take an inspiration, Steve.
Snap his
Take
staff.
one.
Do you want to roll it then?
Yes. I.
A donated inspiration. Here we go.
No, doesn't count.
What was it?
3.
3. So they.
Hang on, you can donate one.
Can I donate and roll?
Yeah, go for it.
Believe in yourself, Smith. The savior.
So yeah.
Calling about the power of all your comrades.
So I think that this will be where we wrap it up because we're pretty much at closing time. So I think we Nuck jams his stick in. He begins to pull it down. It doesn't really move in. I think we get like a visual representation of each of the inspirations. So we get the one that we get sort of them stood in this room. Run's not looking too displeased with what Chaki's telling them, showing them all the worships and the bloody sacrifice table at the start. We sort of pan to Yarlet. What's Yarlet's expression when we see Yarlet sort of stood there having all this explained?
Just wide-eyed, like, just smile and wave, and maybe they won't sacrifice me anytime soon.
So yeah, I think on that we see like we pan back to Nuck and his staff like goes down like half an inch, getting closer to the bottom. We jump back to the room. We sort of see Run. You rolled 1 as well. What's your expression as we're closing out this final scene?
I know I rolled a 1, but I would be super happy. I'm fully behind Jackie and his.
Yeah.
You
And
Nazi.
So during that, like the staff doesn't move any further. It holds true.
That would be the picture of me tapping like Jackie on his back.
Yeah. And then I think the last one we pan to Din. How's Din taking all of
You ain't no
this?
racist, Din.
He's
Come
not.
on.
Well, he's not happy. The fact that he didn't come home. B, he thinks it's a little bit. He sort of sees it as they've just been hiding in this cave. There's not a lot of honour in doing that, really.
Yeah. So I think we see Din.
This is why you ate shit and he didn't.
Din's brow begins to furrow, and we cut back to Nuck one last time. The staff gives way at once, and the boulder begins to roll first slowly, and then it hits where the slope is, and it goes super fast. We're just so during the turn which it's rolling.
No, they're all dead.
The fanatic reaches where the camp is with the other 3. He hears something behind him. Like he turns around, you hear the slow rumbling getting louder and louder and louder. And they all turn round, and then it sweeps through with almost impossible quickness. The fire getting kicked up. I think we sort of see we see 2 people getting rolled over by the boulder, one getting caught up to it, and then it gets to where the fire is, catches the final person. Embers sort of get kicked up as the boulder rolls over the camera. And then as the scene sort of the boulder comes past, the scene slowly fades, and we sort of see where the embers are lying on the floor, all these bodies lying face down, crushed. And I think with that, without the credits roll.